Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, I want to talk about a topic that has been making rounds on the internet for quite some time now. It's a story that has sparked the imaginations of many conspiracy theorists and armchair detectives. I am, of course, talking about mkultra. mkultra is the code name given to a series of experiments conducted by the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, in the 1950s and 60s. These experiments were designed to investigate mind control techniques and the use of drugs for intelligence purposes. Now, at first glance, this may sound like the plot of a Hollywood movie. But, the reality is far more complex than that. The experiments conducted under mkultra were some of the most unethical and controversial in the history of the United States. The CIA's involvement in mkultra was not officially acknowledged until the mid-1970s. The public was outraged when the details of these experiments were revealed. Some of the experiment involved administering LSD to unsuspecting individuals, and even testing the effects of electroconvulsive therapy and sensory deprivation. Now, as a journalist, I approach this topic with a healthy dose of skepticism. I believe that every story deserves to be investigated, but it is important to separate fact from fiction. So, I did some digging. I went through countless documents and reports, and I even interviewed a few people who claim to have been victims of the experiments. What I found was both shocking and sobering. The experiments conducted under mkultra were, without a doubt, some of the most heinous acts committed by the US government. The CIA's own internal report on mkultra acknowledged that the experiments were unethical, illegal, and immoral. And yet, despite this, there are still people who believe that the experiments were successful and that the CIA is still using these techniques today. A conspiracy theorist I interviewed had this to say: the government is always trying to control our minds, man. They're using all sorts of secret techniques to brainwash us and keep us under their control. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. But, as someone who has spent his career investigating stories like this, I can tell you that there's no evidence to support these claims. A scientist I spoke to said this: the idea that the government has a secret mind control program is pure fantasy. There is no scientific evidence to support it. In conclusion, mkultra was a dark chapter in the history of the United States. It is a reminder that even our own government can sometimes act in ways that are unethical and immoral. But, we must be careful not to let our imaginations run wild. We must demand evidence and facts before we jump to conclusions.